Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. The Tribunal is delivering its opinion. As an opinion tribunal, the Turkey Tribunal was mandated to assess and report independently on allegations of human rights violation taking place under the jurisdiction of Turkey. This opinion is not legally binding, but may serve as a source with moral authority for raising awareness. Indeed, silence is the greatest enemy of fundamental rights. The tribunal is independent. All its judges have experience in the field of human rights. 3 were judged at the European Court of Human Rights. One of the judges of the tribunal was a justice of the Constitutional Court of South Africa, the apex court in that country. One judge held senior position in the United Nations. Another judge holds a senior position in a reputable international civil society organization. All the judges are or were professors at well-known universities. None of the judges of the tribunal has any links with Turkey or any other party that could result in either the improper favoring of or bias against Turkey. They perform their task pro bono. This unanimous opinion is the result of serious consideration and intense debate. The tribunal hearing was an enlightening and profound experience. It will hopefully contribute to enhance vigilance about human rights situation, not only in Turkey, but also in the region and indeed worldwide. The opinion of the tribunal is based on international and European human rights law and on the information made available to the tribunal by expert rapporteurs and the testimony of witnesses. To the extent that the government of Turkey may have been in a position to place before the tribunal information or submission relevant to the tribunal's mandate, it is unfortunate that it chose not to do so. The expert report presented to the tribunal were thorough, detailed, and comprehensive. They contain highly valuable information. The opinion of the tribunal is based on the totality of information that emerged from the report and the oral testimony. As a result of the varied nature of the topic addressed, the presentation, nature, and contents of oral testimony by witnesses necessarily differed. The witnesses told the story of their respective experiences, human frailties, understandably sometimes, came to the fore. Some witnesses were nervous and some emotional. A few showed symptoms of trauma and will hopefully receive medical and psychological attention. The tribunal acknowledged the courage shown by the witnesses during their testimony and their contribution for breaking the silence. Aspects of the testimony presented were touching, and others somewhat chilling. One witness, for example, said that when he asked his abductor where he was told that he wasn't in a place that neither exists nor does not exist. Others told the tribunal not only how they had been physically tortured, but also of threats that their wives and daughters would be raped. The tribunal realized the long-term and perhaps everlasting consequences for future generations of gross human rights violation. The tribunal hopes that its opinion will inspire and encourage the improvement of respect for and the protection of human dignity and rights of all. Witnesses didn't testify under oath because of the absence of the Turkish government or its representation. The testimony was not tested, for example, by way of cross-examination. But none of the witnesses contradicted other witnesses or the content of the reports. Several, in fact, corroborated the information in the report. The tribunal was mandated to address questions on 6 topics: torture, abduction, press freedom, impunity, judicial independence, and whether the acts of the Turkish government amount to a crime against humanity. These topics, of course, overlap. For example, someone who is abducted and disappears is often tortured, without a free press to report on events, complaints, and allegations. The public and international community would not know about the abduction and torture. This silence and ignorance result in the failure to investigate the matter and bringing to the court. If the legal profession is furthermore intimidated and the judiciary not independent, impunity will necessarily follow. Now let me express the tribunal's opinion concerning the 6 topics. Torture. The tribunal is of the view that there is a systematic and organized use of torture in Turkey, particularly against people perceived to be linked with or supportive of the Kurdish people and the Gulen movement, as well as people suspected of ordinary crimes. The tribunal recalls that Turkey is bound by the international prohibition of torture. While the tribunal acknowledges that Turkey declared a state of emergency following the attempted coup d'etat and notified the Council of Ministers of the Council of Europe of its derogation from the Convention on 20 July 2016, the tribunal reiterates that the prohibition of torture enshrined in the applicable international legal document is absolute and that no derogation is possible. The witness statements are consistent with the other information that was present to the tribunal in relation to the systematic and organized use of torture and confirms the prevailing pattern in the acts of torture. In this regard, the tribunal reiterated that it is not called upon to pronounce itself on individual cases of torture, but to formulate an opinion on the global human rights situation in Turkey. The tribunal particularly notes that the threats of torture to relatives, especially wife, daughter, affected some of the victims more than physical acts of torture to themselves. In this regard, the tribunal joined the recognition by some international instances that mental suffering of persons that are forced to watch severe mistreatment being inflicted to others can rise to the level of gravity required under international crime of torture. What page is missing? Merci. Furthermore, the tribunal acknowledged that the arbitrary arrest, detention, and torture have a serious and long-lasting impact on victims, not only on a physical and a mental level, but also on a social level. In this regard, the tribunal observes that some people, after their release from prison, were rejected by their family and communities. This social rejection can become unbearable to them, influencing their decision to flee the country. Finally, the tribunal reiterated that obligation of the Turkish state to take measures to prevent and to investigate allegations of ill treatment. In the light of the foregoing, the tribunal deems that the conduct of Turkey is not in conformity with its obligation under international law. Abduction. Regarding abduction, the tribunal is of the opinion that abductions are a part of a state action towards perceived political opponents, and that complaint and allegation of abduction are not properly investigated. While Turkey is not a party to the International Convention for Protection of All Persons against, from, and for disappearances, it nevertheless has obligation under jus cogens. There are reasonable grounds to accept the following. The alleged victims are arbitrarily deprived of their liberty and outside a formal legal procedure. Turkish governmental officials are at least indirectly, by acquiescences, involved in their deprivation of liberty. The Turkish authorities refuse to disclose the fate and the whereabouts of the person concerned. Therefore, as understood under international law, the abductions amount to enforced disappearances. The tribunal furthermore observes a recurring pattern using to execute the enforced disappearances. Regarding domestic enforced disappearances, domestic one, firstly, the perpetrators do not seem to be worried about an intervention by the law enforcement authorities, since the forcible deprivation of liberty are carried out in a broad daylight, in the presence of eyewitnesses or even security cameras. Secondly, the abductions are carried out in a similar manner, namely using some types of vehicle, often by provoking a car accident, and by a bag being put over the heads of the alleged victim, after which they are pushed into a black transporter van. As to the extraterritorial enforced disappearances, the tribunal observed the following recurring situation. The extraterritorial abduction is either inside by Turkey through the cancellation of the passport of the abductee, which results in his arrest while traveling, or is executed by the Turkish National Intelligence Organization without the formal consent of the host state, or is conducted with the formal consent of the home state outside a formal legal procedure. The tribunal is of the opinion that the subsequent disappearance for a prolonged period of time and arbitrary detention is not in conformity with international law. Based upon the information present to the tribunal, there are reasonable grounds to come to the conclusion that domestic enforced disappearances are conducted by MIT officials or other individuals working with or for the Turkish state. The tribunal notes that Turkey publicly recognizes its involvement and thus its responsibility in regard to enforced disappearance in countries other than Turkey itself. Furthermore, the tribunal is of the opinion that the complaints and allegations of these enforced disappearances are not effectively investigated. The tribunal concludes that Turkey doesn't act in conformity with its positive obligation to investigate under international law, and that there exists no effective protection of the right to liberty, personal integrity, and life of perceived opponents of the government. Press freedom. The tribunal is of the opinion that the repression against the press. Thank you. The tribunal is of the opinion that the repression against the press and freedom of expression points to a larger policy of the state to silence critical voice and limit people's access to information. The tribunal reiterates this indispensable role of freedom of expression in promoting democratic principles, including transparency and accountability. A free press can only perform its role in a democratic society if access to information and the freedom to disseminate it are guaranteed. Therefore, press freedom functions as a necessary watchdog, gatekeeper for government accountability and respect for human rights. This tribunal acknowledged with concern the following: the plight of journalists kept in pre-trial or long-term detention, the prosecution and severe conviction for insult or defamation of the President of State, the criminalization of journalists covering Kurdish and Armenian issues, the recurring physical and mental violence inflicted upon members of the press and the media, the application of ambiguous defamation, insult, and terrorism law provision against them, the abuse of emergency power, as well as the direct and ongoing interference by state authorities in the internal affairs of the journalistic profession. The primary area of tension between the government and its media is situated within the public and political sphere. Political expression, which include expression concerning the public interest, is the most protected form of freedom of speech. This is not to say this freedom cannot be subjected to exception, limitation, but as the European Court of Human Rights has established, such exception must, however, be construed strictly, and the need for any restriction must be established convincingly. Turkey media have a duty towards the public to report on matters of public interest, including terrorism, even in a context of political violence. In combating terrorism, the state may impose certain restrictions on the press, but these must strictly follow a balancing test to ensure that they are in accordance with international law. The tribunal recognized the difficulty and troubling political situation in which many of the reported cases of media interference take place, in particular in the aftermath of the attempted coup in 2016. There is no denying that terrorism poses a significant threat to democracy and stability in Turkey as elsewhere. However, it is a principal characteristic of democracy, of democratic state, that it offers the possibility to resolve problems through public debate, as it has often done before. Criminal prosecution and detention of journalists for the mere reporting on sensitive yet important political topic in itself is a direct interference with freedom of the press and have a chilling effect that may result in self-censorship. The restriction of freedom of expression, in particular press freedom, through the extensive use of criminalization, prosecution, and pre-trial detention of journalists has been exacerbated by the events of July 2016. These restrictions inhibit both the media and the public from actively exercising their freedom, essential in a democratic society. In addition, they deeply impact the families and communities of their direct target. In the light of the above, the tribunal is of the opinion that the conduct of Turkey, as far as press freedom is concerned, does not meet its obligation under an international law. Impunity. The tribunal is of the opinion that there has been a persistent and prevailing culture of impunity in Turkey since 1980, which had reached unprecedented levels in recent years, particularly since the attempted coup d'etat of July 2016. The tribunal acknowledged the report's identification of 5 interconnected causes which contribute to impunity and show the organized and institutionalized nature of the problem: the deficient legal structure, the political rhetoric reinforcing the pattern of impunity, the lack of political will to hold state agents accountable, the ineffective and delayed investigation by prosecutors, and the lack of an independent judiciary. The tribunal notes that the lack of effective investigation into allegations of serious human rights violations, such as torture and enforced disappearances, is the result of an unwillingness of prosecutors to initiate investigation into crimes committed by state officials. Furthermore, the tribunal observes that the impunity clause under Turkish law make the prosecution of civil servants, public officials, security forces, and personnel of the intelligence service, at least in practice, subject to an authorization of the relevant administrative authority that is controlled by the government. The tribunal notes that the culture of impunity is entrenched in the judicial and more specifically the criminal justice system. As a result of the lack of evidence of effective investigation into serious human rights violations, the real and perceived lack of independence of the judiciary, and the lack of accountability of perpetrators, citizens have lost their confidence in the judicial system. Moreover, victims of serious human rights violations are further traumatized by the lack of effective access to justice. The tribunal is of the view that the persistent and prevailing impunity for serious human rights violations is not in conformity with Turkey's obligation under international law. Further, the impunity sustains and even fosters the systematic and organized use of torture and enforced disappearance in the country. Independence of the judiciary and access to justice. The tribunal observed that Turkey made important reforms in its legal and judicial system in the period between 2010 and 2013. The tribunal refers in particular to the constitutional reform adopted in 2010, which extends the power of the Constitutional Court in order to receive individual applications for the protection of human rights and change the composition and the appointment procedure for the member of the High Judicial Council. This reform was a step in the right direction towards ensuring judicial independence and guaranteeing access to justice of individuals in case of human rights violation. However, the tribunal notes with concern that even though the applicable legal framework provides effective safeguards, the rule of law was destabilized very swiftly by the government reaction to the Gezi protests in June 2013, and furthermore to the concrete threat of prosecution of high-ranking state officials for corruption in December 2013. First, the tribunal notes the adoption of multiple amendments to laws that disrupt the independence of the judiciary. In particular, the tribunal refers to the law of February 2014 that curtailed the independence of High Judicial Council. Moreover, the political control over the High Judicial Control and the Constitutional Court was reinforced through several amendments to the Constitutional passed on 20 January 2017 that changed the selection and appointment procedure of their members. Second, In addition to the forcible relocation, the tribunal's note with concern the mass dismissal of approximately 4,560 judges and prosecutors in the aftermath of the attempted coup d'etat, based on a list drawn up by the High Judicial Council. Third, the tribunal notes that multiple judges and prosecutors who had adopted a decision or performed investigation disapproved by the government were summarily arrested and placed in pre-trial detention on suspicion of membership of a terrorist organization after the attempted coup d'etat. This constitutes, in the view of the tribunal, a severe intimidation of the judiciary. The tribunal refers in this regard to the national anti-terror criminal provision, which are too vague and overly broadly interpreted, as observed by the European Court of Human Rights in its judgment dated 22 December 2020 in Selahattin Demirtas versus Turkey case. In addition, the tribunal knows the extensive limitation of the right of defense, especially in anti-terror cases, introduced by emergency decrees, which in its opinion are not in conformity with the international human rights obligation of Turkey. The tribunal is further concerned by the prosecution of lawyers and human rights defenders. Furthermore, it observed that law of June 2014 established criminal judges of peace and granted them extensive power, such as to issuance of search warrants, detention of individuals, blocking of websites or seizure of property, without an effective review by a higher judicial authority. Lastly, the tribunal expressed particular concern over the lack of enforcement of two judgments of the European Court of Human Rights ordering the immediate release of detainees. In the view of the tribunal, and referring to the lack of independence of the judiciary, as well as the prevailing culture of impunity, effective access to justice, and to the protection of fundamental rights in the current state of the judicial system in Turkey is illusory. Crimes against humanity. The tribunal firmly reiterated that it does not have a mandate to assess the potential individual criminal responsibility in specific cases. However, the tribunal is called upon to formulate an opinion on whether the act of torture and abduction that in its view have taken place and continue to take place in Turkey are part of a specific global context that would allow to qualify them as crime against humanity under customary international law. The tribunal is of the view that at least since the attempted coup d'etat in July 2016, the act of torture and enforced disappearances have occurred in a systematic and organized manner. In this regard, the tribunal particularly notes the following: the high numbers of reported cases, the existence of specialized teams for torture, the lack of effective investigation and the prevailing impunity of state officials, the deficient legal framework, the lack of enforcement of European Court of Human Rights decisions, and the serious long-lasting impact of these gross human rights violations on the victims and their families. In addition, the tribunal observed that the act of torture and enforced disappearances specifically target civilians perceived to be opponents of the government. As a result, the tribunal is of the view that these acts of torture and enforced disappearances cannot be viewed as mere isolated occurrences. Rather, in the opinion of the tribunal, they are to be considered as a widespread and systematic attack against any civilian population that has taken place in Turkey at least since July 2016. Thus, and that will be the final position, the tribunal is of the view that the acts of torture and enforced disappearances committed in Turkey, in application brought before an appropriate body and subject to the proof of the specific knowledge and intent of the accused, could amount to crimes against humanity. I thank you for your attention.